I've traveled from a point in time where it's that time of year again. So here is my top 10 films of 1996. At number 10 is Maximum Risk. This movie will be sure to have you saying, Van Damme, son. That is some risky behavior. In fact, the behavior represented in this film is at the maximum level of risk. There is no level of riskiness that could surpass what is shown in this film. Now, although the film did not explicitly show it, it is heavily implied that the main character never wore a condom throughout the course of the entire movie. Wow, now that's what I call method acting. Let's take a look.
Jean-Claude Van Damme and Natasha Henstridge of Species. Maximum Risk. Welcome to the other side of safe.
At number 9 is Feeling Minnesota. Keanu Reeves delivers his best performance since the crowd-pleasing epic Sneeze featured in The Lake House. Here is a clip for those of you who have not experienced its majesty. Let's take a look.
I want the blonde boy to go first because he is a Flash.
Now, very much like The Lake House, this film has Keanu Reeves and he's acting in the film. Now, some of you might say that such a blatant ripoff in casting makes this film seem like an overall ripoff of The Lake House. But it's not. It's good. I like it. It's good. I think it's good. Let's
We both have help.
I can see us in Vegas, lying by a pool with water in it.
How does something like this happen to me? Hey, she was my wife! She didn't want to be with you. So why couldn't she love me anyway?
At number 8 is The Crow 2, City of Angels. It's just like The Crow 1, except nobody dies. Let's take a look.
The Crow, City of Angels.
At number 7 is Lawnmower Man 2, Beyond Cyberspace. This rare jewel of a film had me sucked into its world, its cyber world. It was only 10 minutes into the film before I shouted out in the theater, "Why? What have I done to deserve this?" The rest is history, cyber history. Let's take a look.
He was a lawnmower man until my next door neighbor did some experiments with him and turned him into a genius.
I am God here.
Welcome to my world, Peter.
I found the secret to immortality of the Chiron chip.
The future is now.
Get him out of there.
It's getting out of control. I've never seen Job like that before.
You've got to stop Joe before it's too late.
And in 3 days, I'll be in every system in the world.
Maybe I'll go Rod of Ages.
At number 6 is The
That would be
Naughty
nice.
Professor. Eddie Redmayne delivers a powerful yet poignant performance as he plays the rogue agent, Eddie Murphy, a tall and noble man who is faced with the extreme challenge of learning how to live and love while partying all the time. This magnificent film challenges us as
Mistakes were
audience
made.
members and reminds us of a time when obesity was a laughing matter and not a national health crisis. Let's take a look.
I don't know why everybody trying to lose weight in the first place. You're talking about that's healthy. I know what healthy is.
And his love life
I'm a big fan.
Thank you very much. I'm flattered. Flattered.
was disastrous. But now, thanks to the miracle of science, he's about to make a change for the thinner.
At number 5 is Bogus. Whoopi Goldberg and Casey Joel Affleck star in this nail-biting thriller wherein a special little boy starts to see dead people that no one else can. Now, unlike The Sixth Sense, where the ghosts seem relatively playful and harmless, the ghost in this film is French.
He's gonna die.
Crazy, right? Now watch as he tricks this unsuspecting family into trusting him, only to later find out that the Christmas spirit isn't as wholesomely spiritual as they once thought. Let's take a look.
What's important?
Gotta get strong. Gotta learn to grow up. I haven't had a conversation with a child since I was a child.
She needs a friend. You should try.
I don't want to try.
What's not?
Fish cakes.
We don't nachos.
We like nachos.
Well, we don't have no nachos. We have fish cakes.
I live here, I'll die.
I could lose my job.
Why are you scared?
Why you push him away? Would you like to see me?
What do you need?
Where were you?
When I was little.
I was
Oh,
there.
he hit 6.
Yeah.
Nice.
What's real?
This is nuts.
No, it's not nuts. It's imagination.
And what's bogus?
Bogus means fake.
Bogus is not fake.
Don't you shout at me, young man.
From award-winning director Norman Jewison, Whoopi Goldberg,
She has a funny hair, huh?
Gerard Depardieu, and Haley Joel Osment.
You're my best friend. My only friend. You're my Mon Ami.
At number 4 is Mulholland Falls from the director of Die Another Day and Triple X2, The Next Level. Comes this seat-biting thriller that will have you hanging onto the edge of your nails. Watch as Naomi Watts plays a woman suffering from amnesia who must find out who killed her wife by getting crazy tattoos and writing on the backs of Polaroid photographers. Let's take a look.
If you break the law, you'll have to answer to a special squad of detectives.
This is Mulholland Falls, Jack.
You guys can't do this. This is America.
This isn't America, Jack. This is L.A.
With their own brand of justice.
Full man, no politics, no favors. We answer to nobody.
At number 3 is Big Bully. This crazy fever dream of epic proportions shows us just how much each and every one of us wants to stare deeply into Tom Arnold's eyes. Rick Moranis, however, has not yet proven us to be the number 4 handsome boy, and I'm deeply fearful that one day deep into the distant future, he never will. As for the movie, it's pretty fab. To quote the great Roger Ebert, Big Bully is pretty much almost as hilarious and riveting as his 2011 sequel, Cyber Bully. Great job! Let's take a look.
In your face.
It's Rick Moranis and Tom Arnold in a comedy that doesn't pull its punchline.
I can explain. What?
Oh, I hit her.
So get ready to laugh
What are you gonna do? Style my hair?
till it hurts. Big Bully.
At number 2 is Unforgettable. Although I do not remember exactly what this film was about, I do know that it was pretty dang. So how could I possibly
Yeah,
say
dang
no
it.
to including it
Auto-followed
on
me.
this list? Am I right,
The
ladies?
Flash.
Let's take a look.
And one woman who may hold the solution.
To date, I've made successful transfers of neuroelectrical impulses.
An experimental drug that can retrieve his wife's memories and prove his innocence.
So you've really transferred memory?
Yeah.
Actually, I could have gone this thing.
I'd be willing to try it.
That would be completely irresponsible.
Now, he's going to have to recall someone else's past.
It works. It was like a raw experience. It was like I was actually there.
You have no idea what you've done to yourself.
Feel.
I don't want
And
to
my
feel.
number 1 film of the year is a very Brady sequel. I've never watched the original film, and I've never seen an episode of the Brady Bunch, but this film had me laughing to my grave. The little grave boy had to dig me up because I was laughing so loud. He was fired the next day. This film is undoubtedly the absolute pinnacle of filmmaking achievement. This was even more hilarious than Hacksaw Ridge. A very Brady sequel is my favorite movie of all time, and I guarantee you will enjoy its mystical prowess. Let's take a look.
A story about family.
I need some advice. Put yourself up for adoption.
About romance.
I'll make up an imaginary boyfriend. Nice try, Jan.
Wow, that was a nice snipe.
Woo-wee! Baby boy!
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
how did the shield not hit me
Yes.
if it hit him?
Yes! No!
Flash, flash,
Yes.
flash, flash,
Yes.
flash, flash,
Yes.
flash.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Oh, hello, and welcome to YourMovieSucks.org. I'm Eric, your host, and today we're going to take a look at some wonderful reviews of movies and learn how to leave proper and respectful etiquette in the comment sections. Let's just pick a video at random on this channel that you're watching this on. See what this channel's all about, huh?
Want to know what I think of M. Night?
Yeah, what the fuck? Now, much like my boy Big Man Tyrone right here, Adam's paying me $5 to do this video, so that's awesome. He wrote the whole thing for me too, so keep that in mind. And if I actually go off script at any point, I'm gonna receive an electrical shock from this device, which is called Neuro EEG Biofeedback Stimulator. No shit, stimulator. Ah! Ah! Stop! Ah! Stop is not in the script, man. I'm sorry. Just stick to the script and I won't have to hurt you. But hey, it's worth the $5. And then Eric gets shocked. Wait, what? Don't say the part that's the action part. That's not your lines.
I want comment to come up. Also, I just like screwing with people.
Good boy.
It was more so the first thing.
Hey, my name is Eric, and I suck police officers' penises. I'm a crippled baby, pooping in my diaper. Don't kiss me. I don't ever want to be kissed. This is Eric saying
Oh, there's a
this
guy
as
over
myself, and I fucked a turtle when I was 8.
Stop! Why does it auto so
There
fast?
are turtles on the planet. Let's check out a movie review.
Okay, I've seen over 70 films from 2009. I've seen a lot of bad movies in my life, but this is the first time I've ever used the word sloppy to describe someone's directing.
God, he sounds young.
Directed by Michael Bay.
I'm getting distracted by this video. Maybe I'll go to a more standard YMS. Spider-Man.
Why complicate your taxes with confusing pricing? On 1040.com, everyone
Actually, I want
pays
this.
one amazing low rate for all the features you need.
So I just saw The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and like its title, it really was amazingly shitty. So shitty, in fact, that it was hilarious, and I can't wait to see it again. I never once thought that it would be possible for a film to be
it's actually
formed
going
into
pretty even.
existence, but today I was proven wrong. Now,
I like
didn't
the
think
choice to
Amazing
take the CS
Spider-Man
over
1
more
was
poke.
as bad as everybody was saying it was. The majority of it didn't seem like it was trying to be taken too seriously and had a good sense of humor. And as someone who's a fan of the Spider-Man character, I thought it was right about fucking time that they started using perspective shots to show him swinging around the city. Not only that, but I was more than okay with Andrew Garfield being Peter Parker, and I thought he fit the character very well. Sure, yeah, there was stupid shit like property of Peter Parker, but it generally seemed as though there was a decent amount of effort being put into the film. After letting the first movie sit for a while, I
Six
probably
jukes
gave it
I-
a 6 out of 10, but I definitely enjoyed myself while watching it. I mean, come on, as soon as I figured out that he'd be wrestling around with a muscly lizard dude, I thought I could get behind that. Literally. The Spider-Man films have had quite the variation of quality over the years, but I can't think of a single one that I didn't at least enjoy watching. And boy, is that ever reaffirmed with this movie, because it was so fucking bad that it turned into an unintentional parody of itself. Like, someone could release this exact same movie and call it a Spider-Man spoof, and it would actually fucking work. Now, for movies I enjoy, I generally try to keep my reviews to be spoiler-free. But not only is it pretty much impossible to explain what's wrong with this movie without just explaining the whole plot, but I pretty much guarantee you that your movie-watching experience will be much
that Black
better
Shield's
if you're
pretty strong.
thinking about these things during it. Because boy, does this ever make one fucking hilarious unintentional comedy. At the beginning of the film, you see two dudes duking it out in the plane, and somebody shoots a window, and it's like, oh no, the air pressure, I'm getting sucked out. So
oh my gosh, he
grabs onto the other.
He had the ultimate.
Is so strong that he gets sucked
Whatever.
out
At least my
anyway,
shield's
with
good.
the remaining man now holding his laptop with one hand and typing on it. Yeah, don't worry, the laptop's not gonna fly out of the plane. It's important to the plot. This needs
I baited out her ult. It was all intentional.
If he lost his laptop, the audience wouldn't be able to see that it's a Sony Vaio. This is just the beginning of a film that is essentially one giant advertisement for Sony products. We see at least 3 different laptops in the film, and they're all Sony Vaios. We see at least 3 different phones in the film, and they're all Sony Ericsson Xperias. Every time you see a Sony product in the film, it's like a fucking punchline. So Paul Giamatti hijacks a truck filled with plutonium, and so Spider-Man saves the day, and at the end of that, we get introduced to Max, played by Jamie Foxx.
How much does
Each scene,
Banshees
and
give?
especially the story scenes, make it extremely apparent
Banshees
that
gives
nobody
more.
really wants to be there. Yep, this is the obligatory sequel. Nobody really wants to do it, but we're gonna do it. Let's get some money. So then we get a cheesy montage of Spider-Man saving the day in various scenarios. Nothing wrong with a little bit of cheese, especially in a Spider-Man film, but one of those scenarios was really, really stupid. Like he goes into a convenience store as Peter Parker, picking up some cold medication, then sees a crime happening, and then changes into a Spider-Man costume and saves the day and buys the same cold medication. Nobody's gonna fucking touch on the fact that he's clearly on security cameras, assuming that that place, which is a gas station, has security cameras, which they're kind of fucking supposed to. All you needed to do to fix that was show 5 extra seconds of Spider-Man stealing or destroying that footage, but they really wanted to show Spider-Man stumble out of the building being like, oh no, I'm so sick, and this is so funny because you're supposed to laugh because he's sick. Oh, don't you feel bad for him? At several points throughout the film, he cheesily hallucinates seeing Gwen Stacy's father, and it's funny every single time. So then we get to Max's apartment, and we see that he's very obsessed with Spider-Man. He's clearly deranged and wants to be his best friend, and when I saw the trailer and how stupid Electro's design looks, I thought that Jamie Foxx's character would be the worst part of this movie for me. And although I can't really say he did a great job, Jamie Foxx came across to me as the only fucking person in the entire movie that even gave a shit. When he's acting in the film, you can tell that he's at least trying, but watching literally any other character in the film gives me the impression that they all knew it was going to be a giant piece of shit. The entire time I watched this movie, I felt like I was watching a crew full of people that just wanted to go home. So Max gets told to stay at work later because of something with the power grid that he needs to fix. And oh no, he has a workplace accident that sets things up for his superpowers later. He gets electrocuted by a cable and then falls into an inexplicably placed tub of electric eels. I don't know, it's there for science or something. And as he's getting electrocuted inside the container of eels, it shows a close-up shot of the gap in his front teeth closing and fixing itself. And that was fucking hilarious. Like, okay, you want to do the whole cliched, like, oh, it's fixing his wounds sort of thing, even though it looks like he's dying. But why the fuck would it close the gap between his teeth, and what's the point of that? Meanwhile, Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy have a completely fucking unbearable romance subplot.
He's gotten some information that she gets accepted to an Oxford Scholars Program, so she's thinking about leaving.
I have to go to England here. It's important to me.
It's very complicated for Gwen and for him. They're not always able to work.
I'm moving to England. I moved for a scholarship to Oxford.
I hate you, but now I love you again, but now I hate you, but now I love you, now I hate you, but I have to go to England, but I hate you, but I love you. I kid you not, there was a scene where Gwen Stacy said, I break up with you, Peter. I break up with you. Not like I'm breaking up with you, or something that a normal human being would say, and instead of leaving or going home or something, she walks into a restaurant and sits down. Like, I don't know if she was expecting him to come inside, or what.
We were just going different ways. Go.
God, their
That
horribly
in
written romantic
the
dialogue
weird
made me
laugh
feel like I was watching
compilation
Birdemic
for
again.
my channel.
Your laugh isn't annoying yet. You should have a more annoying laugh. Like this, hee hee hee, and then make an ugly face and have an intentionally annoying laugh, and this is how people communicate with each other. The stupid fucking obligatory love interest character bullshit takes up so much of the movie that after a certain point, every time I see her on screen, I just want to punch her in her face. But only assuming she has a sex change operation in the time it takes for my fist to connect, because making jokes that include violence against women is wrong. So we see Max's body on a gurney in a crematorium, not actually in the fire yet, just in the middle of the open. Somebody left the room or something. For whatever reason, he's got a thick crust covering his skin, because that's what happens when you get electrocuted? He breaks through the crust and leaves the building wearing a hoodie. I guess if he started walking around naked, he'd look too much like Dr. Manhattan. So he slowly walks down the street being compelled by, well, I don't know, unintentionally setting off car alarms as he's walking just because it's electricity. So he gets to Times Square, and for whatever reason, all the people that are clearly using cell phones in front of him don't have that affected as well. Like, what exactly could he be emitting that's setting off car alarms but not affecting people's phones at all? Maybe they'd written it into the script and Sony was like, no, our phones are the best. So he pulls up a grate and decides to stick his hand into some electricity like fucking Crank 2. It's implied that this is what guided him here, but it doesn't really explain why. Like, was he running low on juice? Is he like a battery?
When Electro awakes, he's thirsty for power. And of course, he wants to go to the most electric part of the city, so that takes him to Times Square.
The most electrical part of the city is Times Square, not that massive fucking power plant with all those electrical transformers near the end of the film. I think what he really means to say is that he went to Times Square because this is where we can sell the most ad space. So people start freaking out and he's like, I'm sorry, except he doesn't know his own powers and strength, so he accidentally destroys a bunch of shit. Like, I think he accidentally flipped over a car or something. So in the midst of the implied chaos, we get the stereotypical shot of people running around, except the directing is so fucking bad that you can literally imagine point A and point B of where he told them to run. Zero effort was made to make it look natural and even the least bit chaotic. You could almost imagine Mark Webb saying, okay, you 10 people stand over here and then just run to that point right there. Okay, go. No, just go already. I need to go home. I don't want to be here. Okay, good. We got the shot. No, it looks fine. We're good. And Spider-Man just happens to observe this from about a mile away, so he decides to come help. And as soon as Spider-Man shows up, he knows fucking everything about this guy and his powers for no reason. He's like, whoa, buddy, watch where you step. If you step on that grate, you might accidentally electrocute people over there. Yep, makes sense to me. I mean, he does have computer-generated blue all over him. That's what electricity looks like, right? Now, Max fucking loves Spider-Man, but in about 30 seconds, his mind will be changed completely. The script needs him to hate Spider-Man so that there's a villain, but clearly nobody there gives enough of a shit to bother developing it.
You don't remember me?
Of course I remember you. You have my eyes and ears. What's your name again? Oh, I do. I know it. Don't tell me.
It's Max.
Is it Max?
Yes. How could you forget me? You lied to me.
No, I'm trying to help you. Let me help you.
It's like they replaced the script with the Wikipedia plot summary. Max becomes angry and confused, making them no longer friends anymore. Oh man, this is intense. Fucking time slowing down and stopped, man, because of the Spidey sense.
Cash money.
Everybody looks like they're in a fucking computer. Oh man, that was a close call. He just barely saved those people from being electrocuted. It's a good thing electricity is being visually.
He closed himself off from being able to stop us.
We might not have been able to interpret that as audience members. Now, out of all the villains they possibly could have chosen, why the fuck did they make this movie about Electro? Well, if the villain's made out of electricity, then that gives an excuse for the soundtrack during his scenes to be pretend dubstep. That's what kids are into these days, right? Yeah, our superhero movie can be cool and hip with honestly, this is one of the cringiest soundtracks to a movie I've heard in my entire life. Now, let's not get anybody familiar with the genre. Let's just throw in Pharrell Williams.
Hi, I'm Pharrell Williams. I was given the luckiest job in the world, which was to work with this guy, Hans Zimmer, composer extraordinaire. Dude, if you could only imagine what Hans and I got to do musically, I'm telling you. Riveting.
Mortis' then kills support confirmed.
It's not because I had anything to do with it, but it's just because